No? So, yes, I think it is live right now. And then one last thing, because
Nice. Yeah, I see the
I,
notification.
okay, yeah, I want to make sure I'm good. I also have like just in case I also record it in my
Right.
computer.
You don't want an episode to just not
Disappear.
be recorded. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want it to just disappear. Now, I release it usually as a podcast later on, pag yun,
Right.
no?
So mag-pile
And
up lang kag
then
episodes.
yeah, but the weird thing now is that since I've been talking a lot about, usually when I do the podcast, I talk to a creative, and we get into their history, their creative process. So it's in a way it's like evergreen. And
Right.
then when it's evergreen, if somebody listens to it 5 years later, it's still useful. No?
Great. Yeah. Relevant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
relevant gihapon. But lately I've been talking a lot about like the coronavirus, the pandemic, and how it's been affecting people.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it has a time limit, basically,
Yeah. I
some
mean,
of
we
the
definitely have a lot
conversations.
to talk about today, good.
Yeah, yeah, more good. So just so we can start, so I'd like to welcome everyone for checking out the Facebook live stream of 032 Conversations. Today's guest is Marie Dinolan, a New York-based actor performing in theater, television, and film, voiceover, commercial, and print. I'm just going to read this. Born with a Filipino mother and a half English and half Chinese father, she was brought up trilingually in three different cultures in Cebu City, Philippines, before moving to New York City in 2014 for the conservatory, training in both classical and contemporary roles as a prestigious American Academy of Dramatic Arts, home to an extensive history of impressive alumni consisting of Anne Hathaway, Paul Rudd, Grace Kelly, Robert Redford, Kim Catrall, and Danny DeVito. Welcome, Marie.
Hi. Thanks for having me, Carlo.
Yeah. I ask everybody this now because it's kind of a serious question. Usually I ask like, "Oh, how are you? Musta man?" And then it's like a hi hello.
Wow.
But now now some people are really, now it means something
Right.
when you ask people this. So how are you?
Um, I'm okay. Pinakumaw na, I feel like that's the common tubag of people now. I'm okay. I
Yeah,
almost
because like
feel
you
I
almost feel
almost feel
what?
guilty to say I almost feel guilty to say I'm doing great, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, I can relate. Me here, it's not too shabby. Like I, it sucks because I
yeah,
don't have that much work as normal. But I have food. I get to spend time
don't
with my
complain.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, kanang. I wanted to get to your unsa ni ba? A little bit of your history. So it says here that you studied in the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. Are you still studying, or you're not
No,
anymore?
so I've been in New York for 6 years na karon, and my first 2 years were spent at, we just shorten it, we call it ADA, which is the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. Um, all my schooling, I was, born and raised in Cebu, like Bisaya gyud ko, nagdako.
Hmm.
Um,
Mas may patinay ka
college
mo
and
Bisaya
everything.
nako.
Oh, Bisdak if ever. Actually feels really good to speak Cebuano. I have like a couple of Bisaya friends here in New York, so it feels good to speak Bisaya. Um, yeah. So my first 2 years, I moved here as a student. College was again in. I graduated from TC San Carlos. Um, and yeah, I went to acting school for 2 years. So it's a conservatory program. It's literally everything you need to know to be, classically trained in this profession.
Is that what that
Um,
means? Conservatory training. So it's basically to
I
train to
think,
be an actor or in theater.
yeah, I think ang pasabot sa conservatory is like specializing in that. So it could be like a dance conservatory, let's say like
Mm.
Monica, like dancing, anak.
Yeah, my sister.
But yeah, and it's so funny. I met up with Monica. I think like a week or a few days before she was leaving. Like she had finished her program at, was it Alvin Ailey?
Yeah.
So I got to hang out with her once, and then she left New York. Um, so yeah, those were my 2 years, and then after that, it's kind of pretty much been work. Um, which is very different from like the Cebu life. Because I worked in RCTV briefly before coming to New York. And you know, lahat sa Cebu, like kailatanan, everyone's very like friendly.
Yeah, I know
So
what
lahat
it's
ang
like. Kind of when you go
yeah,
abroad and then you live there, and then
yeah,
me when I went abroad, I went to Spain, so like everybody spoke Spanish, so it was actually
nice. Do you speak Spanish?
yeah, a little bit, but I mean, I haven't practiced. That was a lot of years ago, so I
Right.
haven't practiced in a long time. But like when I was there, like kind of good. Like you would hear even just English, you'd hear somebody speak English, and automatically you're like, oh my god, I can talk to this person. And yeah,
Right.
somewhat na if you hear Bisaya there in New York, diba?
Yeah. You're like, for example, like traveling to somewhere like Thailand, which is not that
Mm,
far from the Philippines. I feel like they barely speak English there, and you're just like nga nga bitaw.
yeah.
But luckily, New York, everyone speaks English, and yeah, murag enigma ang New York. Like it's very obviously very diverse and community there, but also it's like tough love gyud dire.
Oh yeah,
So very
I
different.
kana ba? So like, so you're there in New York. You're in the American Academy of Dynamic Arts, ADA, and I mean, I'm not familiar with the school because I'm not into that thing. But just looking at this short list of alumni, I assume it's a big deal.
Right.
And
So
yeah, so how did
um
you get in? Like, how did you? Not only how
okay,
did you
so
get in, like how did like coming from Cebu, how did you even think it was a possibility, ba? No, you get what I'm
okay,
saying?
so yeah, it's just like a completely different world. Like ngano naabot man ka diha.
Mm,
I was very hush hush about the move bitaw, except with like my closest friends. Um I knew good. Like I was so happy working. Like so, I worked at RCTV and then my TV afterwards, and I was so happy with both companies. Like everyone was just like a joy to work with, good. But I knew deep in my heart, good, and my parents knew that too. Nga, I really wanted to act good, and I think the only like grabe good na theater piece I did in Cebu was Vagina Monologues in 2011. Um, Other than that, I tried to join the theater group in TC San Carlos, but my Tagalog was so bad, so they like didn't even think twice like to take me on. So I did my research. I found the school. Initially, London on top because my dad's a British citizen, so like the move would have been easier. Um, but there's something depressing about London that I don't like. It's just, I mean, obviously the weather's very gloomy.
yeah.
It didn't feel right good. Um, so I found the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and I saw that they toured around like internationally for auditions. And it so happened akong lolo was like tiguang na bitaw in London. So we're like, you know what? We're gonna hit two birds with one stone. Um, Visit pa ni lolo ug mag-audition ka.
In
So mo to
London.
ni audition. Right, yeah. So I auditioned in London. I must have prepared for like half a year, 6 months, like with my dad. And every day before kumulaag, like, dad, I need to run my monologue by you. So mag Shakespeare ko sa mong living room, magka ng Chekhov, unsa pa ng mga classics diha. Um, yeah, so I performed my piece in London, and then like a week later, I got the approval letter nga I got in. It's obviously such like it felt like a big achievement. And moto, like the rest of my another 6 months or 6 to 10 months was really just processing paperwork to get to New York, and slowly telling my TV that I wasn't gonna work for them anymore.
And then
Yeah,
so you didn't like choose. So you chose the school. You didn't necessarily choose New York. Like it just so happened to be that the school was in New
great
York,
question.
or
So that's a detail I left out. So when I was in London after my audition, they had some sort of like an orientation thing going on where they showed videos of the school. So duha ka buok ang location sa ADA. So they have one in New York and then they have one in LA. And the one sa LA is pretty iconic because it's the old Charlie Chaplin studios, I believe.
Oh.
Um, and I had on my application, I had LA ticked. Like LA nagyog ko. I was like, LA, like I know a lot of people there. The climate is so similar to Cebu. Like it's gonna be great. And then I saw him in the video pass of New York sa orientation. Ko hala, mas nice lagi ang New York. And nagkuy pa mi sa akong dad ato. I was like, Dad, pwede New York na lang ko? Or pili pag akong dad. And siya, like, sweetie, you know that's like another 6 hours of flying. Ako, bata pa ko. I don't care about another 6 hours of flying. So, mo to? It wasn't a grand decision. I just, okay, New York na lang ko. And it turned out to be the best decision of my life.
Yeah, well, I'm sure at this point you're
Yeah.
you consider yourself a New Yorker. Okay? I know there's like a LA New York thing kind of,
Yeah.
'di ba?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like ang tao sa New York kanang, I can go out and do my groceries in like my sweatpants. Like no one will care. Like pina ko sa LA merg mas high maintenance kamay.
Yeah, like if somebody from New York moves to LA, it's like a betrayal.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But you
No?
know what? I'm so open to that. Like I'm so open to new things. I feel at some point maybe my career will take me there. Um so
Be-
hopefully maybe LA sunod.
But in New York, you're doing like also a lot of theater. Uh,
Yeah, so theater good.
and then
Um
also, yeah, and you also mentioned that you're working on two shows right now.
Right. I mean, not like right now, considering that
Oh
the
yeah,
virus
not
is
right
happening.
now because of the coronavirus.
Yeah. So in the fall, I wrapped a new series called Damsels, and it's one superhero, it's one guapo guy, and he has several girlfriends that he's babaero, and I happen to play one of the girlfriends. So we shot the pilot for that. Um, and I have no idea what's happening after that. I just know we're supposed to be filming the other episodes. But lately, man gyud ko ni sulod sa TV and film. Like my first few years after acting school was theater gyud. But
So how does that work? Like, kanang, I'll- uh, I'm gonna make a few assumptions. So was it like
go.
you were working in theater, and then you just kept working theater, of course, getting better at the same time, but also at the same time, more people see you actually do your thing, and then after that, maybe somebody said, "Oh, maybe we can get her to work on some pilot or in some film or some series." Is it more or less like that?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it's like. Yeah. It's I feel like it's just like any other industry. It's a lot of like who you know, networking, being seen. Um
And then also
yeah,
working
I think
hard, like kanang
working yeah,
yeah, theater is you're working like you know.
yeah,
Y-
it's single. It's like blood, sweat, and tears. Um I think the misconception, Carlo, is like let's say I'll post something on Instagram, like let's say
uh-huh.
an Instagram story, and then moingon ko nga, I'm on my way to an audition, and then I'll have like an old college or high school friend nga, kuya wa, like audition naman in New York. It's even hard to get an audition in the first place, and I think that's what non-actors are not so familiar with, because I don't think that's like a piece of information nga really that's like portrayed in movies or whatever. But it's hard to get an audition in the first place. Um,
And then when you're auditioning to good, it's this, I assume, I've never done it obviously, but like I assume it's this very weird process where you're literally in front of people in this artificial environment, and
yeah.
then they are quite literally
Literally
judging you.
judging you.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the career I chose is basically the career of rejection.
Oh, for
Um
sure.
so mauna siya. Yeah, I remember my very first audition out of acting school. I think I was still so naive. Kanang ang akong gi-expect kanang dako kay nga audition room, like kanang sinaw and bright lights or unsa. it was literally like a closet-sized room. Gamay gyud kaayo, like a foot apart siguro me sa director o sa playwright, which was nerve-wracking at first, but you get used to it.
So you've done like so many auditions now at this point.
Yeah, di na gyud maihap. Murag ang mo ng daily grind, mo ng 9 to 5, mag-audition lang gyud. And it sucks in the summer, like it gets so hot here. It's like even more hot than Cebu. So like mag-ready gyud, and then winter tugnaw pug kaayo. So, and there's no auto here. It's all subway. It's
Yeah.
all yeah.
And
I mean
from
the
what I
subway's
heard
really
from
quiet.
what I heard from Monica, the subways are not necessarily like the cleanest. They're
Oh
in
my
New York,
god.
ba? Kind of, they're like it's smelly
Far
good.
far from that. So like the perfect example I like to tell my American friends they're good is like Singapore is like naadjay, how do you call it? Like when you're on the platform, there's like the glass nga barrier
Oh yeah,
para
yeah.
way mo ambak and stuff, and it smells like Lysol sa sulod sa train sa Asia, but it's pizza and rats sa subway dere. Like quite frankly, feeling ko mas comfortable ang jeep. Mas komportable mag-jeep kaysa subway.
Oh ba?
Mas
Per-
limpyo pa ang jeepney driver.
Yeah, well, yeah, kind of per like so now how long have you been like stuck at home?
So the New York pause started March 9, 20, March 20 or 19, something like that. Nagsugod na ko og quarantine ato, which is also another story because I was in the middle of moving apartments throughout
Oh wow.
COVID. um Alone. Um when did it start? Yeah, muna March 20 siguro. Then to be
No.
honest, naglakaw-lakaw pa ko mga March 20 to 25, like to the park, kanana, and like to a restaurant. And then pag after na gyud ana wala na gyud. Like I've just been home.
Because New York is like one of the most hit areas for this in the US, diba? Like in this
Yeah,
pandemic.
I mean right now it's the epicenter. It's like the worst. Anywhere, everywhere. Anywhere, everywhere.
But I don't know if you've been keeping track of what has been happening here in Cebu, no? Like I'm just curious to compare like the differences in like how these different cities have been approaching it. Like you mentioned pause, the New York pause.
Right.
And then
Right.
and here we don't say, obviously we don't say Cebu pause. It's
Yeah.
like ECQ is our term. I don't know what that means actually, like executive, I don't know, community quarantine, something. Yeah, executive community. Oh,
Enhanced
enhanced
term.
community quarantine. I think.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Have you been keeping track what's been
I'll be
happening here?
honest. I'll be honest, I had to Google ECQ as well because I noticed
Oh,
all my Bisaya friends had like hashtag ECQ. I'm like, unsa din ang ECQ, oy? And then the next step is J GCQ. Is that what it
GCQ.
is?
Yeah,
GCQ. Unsa naman ang G?
general. I don't know.
General.
I'm.
Okay,
Uh,
I'm not gonna ask you. Um, so I actually watched the episode Kamo ni Mayan talking about bubble tea and talking
oh,
about
okay.
there was a moment in that episode where you mentioned like ang mentality o ang cultural differences gyud like sa Cebu ug sa New York, and I can say nga like badlungon gyud gahig ulo ang mga tao dire.
Oh
I
yeah.
used to think gahig o ang like Pinoy or Bisaya, but like gahig gyud sila ulo dire.
I have a
Um
theory about that. Like kanang the okay, I have a theory about like in the US in particular. So the US is founded on like freedom, individuality. You
right,
know, kanang you are allowed to do your own thing. Ikaw na bahala. And
right.
then all of a sudden, that's why it's very difficult. I think in the I'm curious about the differences because like here, for example, I'm not allowed to go to Mandaue. I cannot
Oh
cross
wow.
city borders. No.
Wow.
Yeah, like I cannot cross. So
So there are literally checkpoints nga mag
yeah, there's like army
wow, okay.
guys there, and yeah, then let's say you go through with your car, they'll ask you to put down your window. What are you doing? Do you have a pass? Uh, that sort of thing. And you cannot do that in the US, I assume. I don't think they're going to stop you because that's like a freedom thing, you know? Diba?
I mean, I feel like it took everyone a while to actually wear a mask. Like the whole concept of wearing a mask was so foreign to them. Because if you look at, the other side of the world, like all the Asian countries, it doesn't even need to be COVID-19. When we're sick, you'll see, people will wear a mask, and it's not
Yeah.
like, why are you wearing a mask?
Japan.
Japan, everyone wears
Yeah.
masks. Like in Hong Kong, like, um, I definitely agree with you. Nga, diha kita different.
No, the
For example, Cinco de Mayo happened just a few days ago. And before that, it was also like a very beautiful weekend in New York. Like both Saturday and Sunday, like stellar gid ang weather. Everyone was out. Everyone was out in the parks. I went out for a jog. I'm not gonna be a hypocrite. I went out for a jog, but like I wasn't near anyone. I wore my mask. I wore like my glasses. But people are like having picnics and nagtapok-tapok as if it's a normal summer when it's really not.
that's
Um,
I'm kind of curious. So, what are you allowed to do and what are you not allowed to do over there in New York?
so when the New York pause happened, like they closed all the not everything was just shut. And they only left pharmacies open, groceries open, restaurants were not allowed to take in customers to dine in anymore. It was only it's only takeout and delivery, also at present. So people are technically allowed to go out because they have not, this is my understanding, they haven't shut down the parks like Central Park, Riverside Park, all the parks in Brooklyn, they're open. So you will see people jogging outside, you will see people walking their dog, you will see people like, taking their baby out. Um so it's actually less strict than Cebu from the sounds of it.
Oh, for sure.
Uh,
I am envious that you've been able to go out for a jog. Like here, like I do a lot of cycling, and the
yeah,
only cycling I get to do outside right now is if I want to buy like something from the convenience store or go to a fruit stand or the supermarket. So because if I don't have a reason to be out, there is a possibility that somebody will go to me and ask me what I'm doing and where I'm
right.
going. No,
So you're
and
seeing it, it really is strict. Like someone is
mm,
looking, is like watching you.
there's
You're saying
checkpoints
in school.
everywhere,
See, we
not
don't,
just the
at least
borders.
from my understanding, we don't have that here. So I've been
Mm.
in the city. I've been in Manhattan the whole time. I don't think there's any such thing as checkpoints. Like wala gyud. There's social distancing when you go to grocery stores or pharmacies. Like obviously there's like the 6 feet rule, and they have these stickers on the floor to like remind people of that. But checkpoints, margwa gyud.
Malagi, the reason why I want to point it out is like I mean I didn't know that no nga walay checkpoints, but I figured that it's probably not there because the reason why I want to point it out is like you hear a lot of I've honestly been trying to stay away from social media, but like when you do go on social media, at least for me, I don't know if it is for you. Everybody's Facebook is different, but like when I do
Right.
go on social media, people post kanang murag kanang unsa man ni oy we're not handling it well or this country is handling it like this. How come we're not like that? And yeah,
That's Cebu people saying that.
generally, oh no, not everybody, of course, but it pops up. Like, kanang, there's always somebody complaining about how it's been handled, and then the truth is, every country is different. Uh,
Yeah.
the norms of every country is different, and then the way that they've been approaching this whole pandemic is different. And the truth is, nobody knows the right answer. No,
Yeah, I guess there is no right answer. Um
yeah,
I'll even see like old people going out.
no way,
Some of them
crazy, really.
not wearing masks. Like I'm jogging in the park with a mask and like my apocalyptic gear on, and I'll see two old people sitting on a bench, and I'm like, that bench has coronavirus. I will bet you $20 it has coronavirus.
uh,
um, Murag, lahi gyud, like lahi gyud. I'm gonna say it and just like Bisaya ha kay fina ko nadyo ko like friends nag-watch ka like in the first place mas hugawan gyud sila here. So
mm,
murag it's just gahi gyud silag ulo. I'm really scared for the so our pause ends on May 15th, so that's 3 4 days from now.
yeah.
I'm honestly really worried because I mean you're gonna have like a big chunk of people that will probably still continue to quarantine, and then you'll have another chunk of people who will start going out, will probably have to start going to work again, and obviously taking the precautions. And I feel like you'll still have a big number of people here who as if wala na happen ang COVID. What about
Mm,
you give people like an inch and they'll take like 5 miles?
yeah. I mean, that's that's human nature. Like, kind of like, so like I was probably like you in a way. So in the beginning of all this, when they started announcing it, I was like,
Right.
I'm in Cebu. Like, in me pa, like I used to joke with my cousin, I'm like, why? Ang nindot sa Cebu, ba? It's like nothing happens here. Like we are not included in whatever happens
Right.
in the world. you know.
We're mainly the audience.
No, but I'm kidding. Like, karang, it was a joke, ba? And then all of a sudden, you know, we're now
Boom.
the yeah, like it is here. Like we have more at, well, I think it's a good thing actually. Like, because there's a lot of testing here in Cebu. So if you look at the number
Good.
of positive cases, we have the most number of positive cases in the whole Philippines. Pero
Okay.
we also have the most kanang, we've also been testing the most, no?
Right. I
Like
feel
by
like
far, it seems.
yes, Governor Gwendolyn, she took action pretty quick. Like I started seeing things like executive orders were being put down. People were told
Oh
to
yeah, yeah,
quarantine.
yeah.
Like I feel like you guys acted really quick. I mean, compared to how they acted here, like it was so slow. The way they acted was so slow here. I feel like it could have been totally avoided. But
Mm.
hinay gyud.
I attribute that to kana like the culture lagi gyud nga sa
Yeah.
US, because it's more kana it's individual freedoms ba. Here we are, I think Filipinos tend to be a more generally a more obedient culture in a
That's
sense,
very true.
no?
Yeah. I think it's so deep in us. We learn it, from the families that we grew up with. It's just so deep in our culture.
So yeah, so what was the
Um,
initial reaction like when they first announced uh the New York
the
pause?
pause.
Yeah. Like, what was the? Do you remember the temperature of the people? Like, you know.
I just remember like I think the first week of the pause, like the two words I kept telling my friends, like, "Oh my God, New York's a ghost town. It's a ghost town."
Mm.
Like I've never seen Times Square this empty from the pictures. Um, and yeah, I think wako na exag ghost town gyud. People were concerned. How were they gonna pay their rent? Like rent's very high in New York. People were concerned about their jobs. Like let's say ako sa akong field, like I have a lot of actor friends who wait tables and stuff and jobs like that. Like wala sila means of income karon, but ang rent karon is you can't be evicted man until when is it? Is it June? I don't know if it's June or August. Oh no, don't quote me on that. I'm just gonna say June to be safe.
So
But
you
that's
still
the
have to
thing,
pay
like
rent,
it's a
but they can't evict you.
right. So basically, mubayad gihapon ka sa imong missed rent for let's say 2 months na.
Mm-hmm.
But once you can go back to work again, all the let's say people like the service industry mag-apas na sila ana to pay the
Yeah.
2 months that we've missed. So it still sucks. It's still so difficult.
So,
Um,
so you guys, I think we're actually the same. May 15, we're supposed to go to GCQ, no? Which
Okay.
is like
Whatever
things can
G
open.
means.
Yeah, general. I think I'm looking at the comments here. See, thank you, Julian, for telling me what G
Oh,
means.
general.
Yeah. So, so I think on the May 15 we're supposed to be in GCQ, but actually it hasn't been announced yet. Because it's very possible that they will extend the ECQ. I could be wrong. Maybe they're announcing it already. Maybe they already announced it last night. I'm not sure, but supposed to be May 15. Yeah, May 15 somewhere there. And then so but the Skamo, it's sure and a good May 15. That's the end of the New York pause.
Yeah, so Monday night man karon sa New York on Saturday, so 2 days ago, Governor Cuomo signed an executive order, which caused a bit of confusion over the weekend, saying extend daw ang among New York pause until June, like the first week of June, June 6th. So obviously ang mga people naratol na pod balik, but gi-clear up nila nga I think it just means ang katong executive order design is to extend the authority over this emergency situation. So May 15th still remains our opening. But it's gonna be a slow open. So every day I'm like, you know, when you tune into the news here, it's different regions will open accordingly with like different guidelines.
Mm, okay.
Yeah. They need to meet a criteria before like maka-open. So
So
currently there are about 20 zip codes left. I think in New York City nga wala gihapon nakamit ang nga guidelines. So di gihapon pwede mo open everything. Only essentials can be open.
oh, for those 20 zip codes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So are you
And
in
I
a
think
zip code that meets those guidelines?
um I'm not sure. I haven't seen the whole
We'll find
list,
out.
but like yeah, I'll find out. It's like at the top of this episode we were talking about like we're okay, you know?
Mm.
Kanang komportable ra gyud ta. Like I have 3 grocery stores outside my apartment that are open. One of them is 24 hours. I have the bank near, I mean the banks are closed, but nagi pa ATM. Like okay ra gyud.
It's
Um
so the so kana Merg, the assumption there, um this whole term of like flattening the curve. So I assume because like last I checked, I think like you guys had like at least New York, no, yeah, I'm sure there's like so many different zip codes in New York. Last I checked was like almost like 200,000 cases and almost
correct.
like
Correct.
20,000 deaths, which is the
Correct. Like
deaths is
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. So obviously I think when people say New York, they just think like, Times Square, all those popular places. Like it's huge. It's New York
Yeah.
State. So lahi good ang condition sa upstate o kami sa downstate. So sa ubos man me ang Manhattan. So I feel like there are 3 regions upstate karon nga mo open this week, I think. But on pause pa gid mi diri sa Manhattan. Ang daghan og cases is like the Bronx also. They're finding that a lot of communities nga kanang Hispanic o mga African American kay the numbers are dako gyud.
Mm,
And I feel like they're always saying on the news that like we need to look into that as to why that's happening. To me, it's pretty obvious. It's like I think it's a cultural thing. Like ganahan sila magtapok, they're outside
yeah.
like nag-inom and dancing and whatever in fiesta mode.
Yeah, that's why they're fun.
That's why they're fun. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that is a big issue here. Like I'm kind of curious. Like me, I I want to go out. I want to be out there, but
Right.
I know that there are real risks to all of this, and
Yeah. I mean, it's not so much like one of my really good friends here. Um, he's a nurse, and he's been
oh,
working as a frontliner, and he's been working in the ICU unit. And I believe once the New York pause has been lifted, he goes back into the surgery room, which is really his main like area. Um, and it's bad, you
So you
know.
spoke to him. He said, "Ganang grabe good. They're getting flooded."
I don't know if he's watching. I'm just gonna say his name, Eric. Like Eric even got sick for a little bit, and I was just like, oh, but he's okay. He's fine.
Okay.
Um, yeah, bata pa man said good, which I think is also the wrong message to give. At the first 2 weeks, I was like, okay, okay, bata pata, di air lagi ta maigo ana. But then you read these cases of like young people who are also, dying from this and like struggling with this.
And like let's say like kita bata pata, but then there are other people who are not kanang mga the older folks who rely
Right.
on younger
Sorry. So yeah,
people to do those things, to do things like
yeah.
groceries for them, ana, no?
Yeah,
Uh
sorry, that was the point I was trying to make. Like, it's
yeah,
not so
yeah.
much about simbako, like, let's say, maigo kog coronavirus, simbako. It's not so much about me getting sick. Like, chances are, I'll probably be, like, awfully sick for a bit, and then I'll be fine, you know, buyag. The problem there is, then I'm just a danger to, like, the old people in my building, for
Mm.
example, you know? Yeah, di jud ma-flatten ang curve. If matakdan your tatanan.
Yeah, well, I don't want to get into it because then, I don't want to get into it because if
It's
matakdan
not a
tanan, then
political
there's this
stuff,
whole
though.
like, no, but if matakdan tanan, there's this thing like a herd immunity. But I know too little about it to discuss, but
So
because
they're
there
expecting,
is a version of the future where that we just live with this
right?
and
Yeah.
but I don't know. I don't really know. No.
Yeah,
Um
I mean, they also talk about in the news, they're expecting a second wave to come, and it's supposed to be like worse. So like fall, winter, man, obviously we have the different seasons. So they're expecting a second wave to come. Inig sugod na pud og tugnaw dire, and it's supposed to be really bad. Um,
I think
but
maybe
you can't
they
really tell the future.
yeah, I think kanang they're just basing that off like kanang what used to happen before in the different pandemics. But mona like I I I I don't know. Like I don't know what's going to happen. What's uh so I'm just I what I've been doing is I've just been asking people like how it's been affecting them. So like for you, for example, like so prior to the pandemic, Ika, you were out working, doing auditions, that whole thing, right?
Yeah, I had a very busy start to the year. Um, it was a lot. It was like a lot going on for me at the beginning of the year. Um, and part of that was moving to a new apartment. And I literally, so my lease ended at the end of March. And I was basically moving like when gisugod ang New York pause. So I was in a bit of a panic, like, oh my God, I have no Bisaya friend to call me, like with a car to help me with my bed and whatever.
Sharo, wala kay
Um,
friend, you can, dali man na.
moving company. Mahal kaayo. Moving company.
Oh yeah. Usually like you get like like what doesn't matter Filipino or not, like a guy friend to just help you carry stuff. We're usually
Yeah.
pretty good at that. If there's one
Right.
thing
Yeah.
us guy friends are good at, it's carrying stuff.
Yeah. I was on the phone with my
No?
dad, like, oh my God, I wish you were here. Who's gonna help me? He's like, call your guy friends, duh. Ay, nako.
so the so you're there in New York. What's somebody like I think you mentioned earlier that you're processing something also.
Yeah, so I'm extending my immigration status here. So that's another thing that I'm working on. So it's been the apartment, it's been adjusting to quarantine, and I've literally just been glued to my laptop this whole time, working on my next artist's visa to continue being here. And a lot of that is proving that, I have work waiting for me here. And COVID-19 could not have come at the perfect time. Kimurag. How can I prove na napo ko yung work this year? So
Oh,
yeah,
no.
that's been a little bit of a struggle. But it will be okay.
Yeah,
Oma okay
kay
or good in the end.
because obviously there's work stoppages everywhere. But like, but you, but prior to this, you were working on a show. I think, uh,
I think I mentioned it to you through chat. Yeah.
yeah, like
There was
you're
a,
doing like situationships and such as life.
yeah, so
No.
situationships, I've been with them for a while now. I've known them for like, I think since I left acting school, siguro. They're really great. They have um another show which is I'm not in that. It's just I'm plugging it called Wingman, which is also really a great show. And then Such is Life, which we filmed the pilot and we also did a screening at the Chain Theater here, which is also a really, really great theater company that I've had the chance to work with today. Um, and then we wrapped filming episodes 2 and 3 of that. Ang synopsis Anna is really cool. I'm really excited to share that.
Kaya ba like so for example, I googled like situationships and then it's like a BET show,
Yeah.
correct? Is that but that's like a TV network, so it's really on TV
Yeah, so
or
it's the biggest network for African American audiences here in America. So,
mhm.
unsa may equivalent na to ana sa Cebu?
Oh, I don't know if there's like, but
Well,
but
I know ABS-CBN shut, which is sad.
yeah, I have no idea about why it was shut down or unsa.
Same here.
Yeah, I'm not too tuned into like current events. No. Pero but like so when you're working there, so that's a that's pretty cool. So that's a television show. Like like a
Yeah.
network show, right?
Yeah, and a lot of these shows start as like kanang web series. They start in the festival circuit. So festivals are obviously a big, I guess we have that back home too. So mga film festivals. So you try to pitch to film festivals and then hopefully someone who's at that festival is interested in your work. And it's pretty much a domino effect from there. And you start pitching put to networks if may ganahan mo dawat. I'm not on that side. Like, dili mo, di mo function akong brain na nga side. Sa artistic side, review ko.
Ah, okay, okay. I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
That's see, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So the acting side, the one in front. But yeah, I was looking through your Facebook. Like you did some writing also, right? Kind of like you wrote a screenplay,
Um, did I?
or wala, or maybe
Carlo,
that was like
nauwaw
for
mo
fun
noon
lang.
ko.
Well, I do a
Managster,
little
nauwaw.
research.
Yeah.
No?
But yeah, it got me thinking, like leading up to this podcast, like I was thinking about, everyone I worked with in RCTV and my TV. I'm just like, such a great community back home.
Oh yeah.
Just so
Well,
kind. Yeah.
I obviously I like it here.
Right.
No. When was the last time you were back?
I've only been home once in 6 years.
Really?
Yeah, so I went home after my first year in acting school that summer. So I was home for mga 2 to 3 weeks lang. I visited family in Hong Kong and then Cebu. Kind of kept it low key. Low key nga, nisulod ko Watsons. Nakitaan ko within 10 minutes of being in Cebu. Og friend,
Oh yeah.
hoy, Marie!
Oh yeah, that's
Uh,
the nice thing about being in Cebu. That's kind of like
right.
why I like it here. One of the like I mentioned I was abroad for like a year in Spain, right? And then one of the things I really missed was well, it was also a language thing. It's like you talk to like a waiter or a waitress, you can just joke around, ba? No, so I couldn't do that because it was in Spanish. But also, you can go days in the city, in a big city like that. I assume also New York. You can go days, weeks, months. Nga, you don't see anybody you know at all, right?
Yeah, no, that's true. Um, I agree with that. However, a recent experience from like a week and a half ago does not go with that statement. Okay. When I was jogging in the park that I mentioned, Ganina, it's a really, really huge park. Like huge. And of all people, I had to run into my ex's family. Bag-ura mi
Oh yeah.
nagbuwag. So I was just like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Am I in Cebu right now?
Oh ba?
But yeah, Yeah.
Yeah, so for like right now in New York, so you mentioned like you're gonna be done with the New York pause, no? So you'll be transitioning to post quarantine life. So things will open again. So restaurants will open, that sort of thing. Uh,
Yeah.
but how
Starting
about
with like construction, like retail. They're keeping it to the essentials some good.
okay? Well, things like we were talking about like transportation, like the subway. Have they done anything? Would you know? Or like what are they
Right.
doing to
So
address like obviously people need to move from point A to point B. Are there any changes on how people are doing that?
right. So as far as I know, the subway, um, they've I think this started about a week ago. But a very recent good is they started closing the subway from 1 to 5 a.m. to do like a general cleaning. So that includes like the platform, that includes like the stations, the trains itself. Um,
So they did
which
not
to
used to do that. No?
exactly, which is my next point. You're rolling it on eyes. So like first off, you should have been doing that before the virus because it's
Okay.
filthy. Second of all, you should have done this like if you weren't doing it before the virus, you should have done it like the beginning of the virus. I think it was because they were the subway we call the MTA. They were starting to lose you know employees. Like MTA employees were dying also. Mga essential
Hmm.
workers ba catching the virus pod.
Oh
So
yeah, for
nag-realize
sure.
siguro ang governor, it's about time to like do the cleanup. But yeah, life will be weird for a while. It's obviously much bigger here than Cebu. I personally feel scared again because my mode of transportation is the subway. I'll take Ubers as well, but the
Oh,
Ubers
that
is
can get
more. It's not
expensive quick, I'm sure.
right that it can get expensive. I'm still some of the Uber drivers. I have been in an Uber a couple of times throughout this whole thing, and they have like a plastic barrier ang driver ilagi butang and some don't, so that my issue would be catching the virus in an Uber. My issue with going back to normal life after the pause on the subway siguro is it's gonna be so quiet, like mingaw gid ang subway. It honestly feels like kuyaw, especially for like a young girl
Oh.
like me.
Pero
Yeah,
uh I don't know if like let's say they stop the pause. I don't know. I think people will start using the subway. I think the issue will be there might be too many people na noon. You don't think? Na murag, they might have to,
yeah, I think I don't really have the answer to that yet because obviously like I
wala
don't
pa.
work a 9 to 5. I don't work in an office, but I'm gonna start to observe to see which establishments they will open, and from there we can kind of decipher pila ka workers ilang isend out, which then you can be like, okay, how many people are gonna be on the subway? Um, but I don't think just because a lift na among pause that things are gonna go back to normal immediately. It's definitely gonna be quiet for a while. Okay, I think what they're
Mm.
gonna do for like let's say office jobs, they're not gonna send like the whole company immediately to the building to work. They're probably gonna send like half the amount of workers, and maybe not every day.
Yeah, but here in the Philippines, so you mentioned jeepneys, no? Like uh if I were if this coronavirus was around, like I wouldn't want to go inside a jeepney and
Right,
sit shoulder to shoulder with another person. So some
right.
jeepneys have there's some like stuff going around like online na murag you see like
Barriers.
plastic
Yeah,
barriers inside the jeepney, which is
yeah.
actually really cool. Like, you know,
We're so
that
resourceful, gid. Resourceful, gid ang Pinoy.
yeah, yeah. In fact, I was talking also to an owner of a taxi operator, and he said that it might be a requirement that taxis have a plastic barrier between the driver and
That's good.
the passengers. They're gonna require that.
Yeah, good,
No.
good. So
Yeah. So
I'm curious. In
good.
Cebu, is there hasn't been a shortage of like getting something as simple as like alcohol para sa kamot?
There was initially, so like because people were really buying them, no. But now, if you go to us now, it depends. Like you'll you can go into a supermarket and you can still see some alcohol. More like they just have to stock it more often. No.
Right.
Um, in the beginning, lisod good. Like katong when the panic was still setting in, yeah, people were buying it all at the same time. For karon now, like people have a stock. Like my wife was able to just buy. I think like she just bought like a liter or a gallon. I'm not sure now. Like a big one na lang yun just to hold us over. No, so we just
Good,
refill
good.
every now and then. Like I have one. I have one right beside me.
Right, right.
No,
For every
uh,
corner, good.
yeah, not really
Yeah,
hoarding, but
grabe
like
good.
just buying a big
Fully
container
stocked.
of it. Yeah. No.
Yeah, it was hard here. Like people just the first thing
Oh,
that that left all the shelves was toilet paper.
yeah.
Grabe ang
Mo,
hoarders
mo
wa
lagi.
sila kay kabo. That's the thing.
Mo
So,
lagi. I was gonna say use water, right? No, but there's another
um,
theory there. The other theory is that so these are things that are generally inexpensive but take up a lot of shelf space.
right.
You get what I'm saying? So a lot of people all
Yeah.
of a sudden they're like, you know what, I'm gonna stock up a little extra, and then dali kay siya
Yeah.
mawa, di ba? If you're talking about like little bottles, you could put like 100 bottles in this shelf space. And the equivalent shelf space, maybe you can put like 4 or 5. I don't
Right.
know. I don't know what it comes there. Plastic. Is it
Yeah,
plastic? Yeah.
plastic.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
For
So
grabe oy, like I feel like for a big part of this, sorry, a big majority of this whole COVID situation there is in New York, it's been hard to like get kanang like hand sanitizer or bisag mask naman lang. Maayo na lang prepared ko before it really hit, but
oh really?
I saw some, I saw some of my other friends struggle to find in anak nga supplies.
Like masks, wala.
Karon
Mo ba?
nagsugod na. I mean, there are more
Mm.
companies making it. Like clothing companies have started,
Ah,
producing
okay.
masks and all that. Pero grabe siya ang toilet paper. Grabe, hoarding yun ang America. Grabe ang hoarding.
No. I was wondering about that. Yeah. Okay. So I've been looking. Sometimes I look at. I listen to like a lot of podcasts, and then there are some podcasts that I listen to, and yet they're talking about it. And then in my head, kind like, wow, we went through this a month ago. Where like, it feels like in a
5
weird
days.
way, yeah, it feels like in a weird way, like we're a little ahead. So I listened to one podcast and it came out like I think 2 weeks ago or something, and then they're like, "Yeah, guys, use a mask. It's not like kanang it's not weird. It's very useful, etc." And then in my head, came like, "Wow, we've been doing this for like you know
A
end of
long
March."
time.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Murag, there's a lot. It's a weird thing. In a weird way, we're kind of ahead in that sense. No.
I 100% agree with you. So, ang number of cases ninyo has always been lower that even 2 months ago and at present is obviously lower than ours. But the precautions that you guys have been taking, so much more than what we've been doing here. Like, bale. Taas kaya
Mm.
mong numbers there, but the precautions they're taking is, I had friends like traveling from Asia, like ni balik dere. Kiba baka wala you check, like sa JFK for example. Wala gyud like temperature check or kanang
Oh, really?
questionnaire kung asa ka gikan wala gyud. Like there was nothing. And this was already when COVID-19 was starting to get in it na the news.
No. So how are
Yeah,
you
wagyu.
personally feeling? Do you feel like me, me even just to go into a supermarket, I get like really antsy na. Like I look at the cart, I'm like, oh my god, I gotta touch this. I'm gonna risk my life. you know?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to portray myself as a crazy person, but like I'm really insane good. Like kung moadto ko grocery, I wipe everything down when I get home. I walk like 5 steps into my house and then straight into the shower. Like yeah, the grocery is one of the worst places to be in actually. It's one of the most hugaw places to be in. Always wipe everything down good.
Even there, huh? So do you feel like,
Yeah, even
but considering you guys have a lot of cases, like do you feel safe there? No?
I mean, I feel safe. I'm safe in my own apartment. I have a good network and community here. I have friends I can call if, shit needs to hit the fan or whatever. So I do have people I can rely on here. Um, but I realize also, no, like, simbako, if I do get the virus, simbako gyud. And let's say maabot ko hospital, simbako. All those people I just mentioned that I can rely on here, I guess I can rely on them on like a regular day, but they're not gonna be able to visit me. Let's say like in the ICU, for example. So I think that
Oh yeah.
part's really kind of scary, actually.
Yeah, and then no knock on them. Like it's you really just can't. They're probably not going to be allowed in there good at
Bawal
all.
jud, yeah. And I wouldn't want them to visit me anyway, Kimrag. Why, you know? So yeah, it is
Matakdan.
scary. It almost seems surreal, like unreal good ang feeling. Because I'll read on the news, like let's say, mata ko in the morning, I'll read the news and it's like, we're the epicenter of the coronavirus. And then I have to remind myself, like, oh my God, I'm here. I'm here at the center of all this. It almost doesn't feel real.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
this is we're in a strange time, you know. So Mari, we've been talking for
Yeah.
like an hour, no? Just to recap, no? It's it's a strange time everywhere in the world. Um I feel a little safer talking to you honestly that I'm in Cebu.
You're like, Marie, mas kuyaw imong sitwasyon, so I feel safer.
Yeah, I'm like,
Because you
oh,
guys are doing the right thing. You guys are doing the right thing. Like, stay home, like your wife and kids, stay home.
you know what I'm worried about here? I'm worried about here. So, like in the US, like a lot of the restaurants, I could be wrong, but like a lot of obviously a lot of people work in restaurants, right? And in the
Correct.
US, also here, and even after this pause, even after the lockdown or the ECQ, the restaurants are not going to open up. At least here, they're probably not going to open up all of a sudden. Maybe
Correct.
at best they'll do takeouts, delivery, and there's going to be a big chunk of people who won't have work, no?
Correct.
And I think in the US, you guys might be more prepared for this, but here in the Philippines, uh, I don't know. So let's say a whole bunch of people don't have work all of a sudden, and how do we feed these people? And I am not optimistic with how we're going to be able to handle it here, at least yeah, in the Philippines or in here in Cebu. There maybe I think there might be more equipped. I'm not sure. I don't know if you have any thoughts about that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, so yeah, like you said, there are a lot of people who work, let's say, like waiters or waitresses, they're bartenders, and a lot of them make their money off, lahi ba here, like they make their money off tips. It's not like back home. Like, tako gyud ilang tips here. So that's their like main source of income. I feel like they're just gonna have to be like new sort of jobs opening up, as like, packing groceries, helping out the pharmacy or something. I mean, I don't have an answer to it personally too.
No, but like
It's a scary thought.
how about the ability of your government to feed these people while they are in transition to find new
I
jobs?
mean, ang nagbayad og taxes last year is they've all received stimulus checks, so $1,200. But
Really?
when you think about, yeah, which in theory sounds like, oh yay, money, but you think about $1,200, like you're at least paying, if you're like living in a rougher area, so you're paying like at the least like $800 siguro for rent, and then maybe standard, I'll say like $1,000 for rent. Some people 1,500 or more. I'll just say
Did
a
you say rough
thousand.
area already? That's already a rough area. So like
Mm,
not a nice
I'm
area.
my gosh, bougie na no kay ko tanawon diri sa kuan. So, yan. No, what? Di ba to eh? Like, I would say mga 700, 800 siguro. And that's just
On
your
rent.
1,000. Yeah. Unsa naman, like, you have 200 left na pa kay bills. And ang lifestyle but here, it's you're not paying like the Philippine peso. It's more expensive good here. So let's say like a phone bill. A phone bill could easily be like your data on your phone could easily be like $50 at the least or more. Um asa naman imo 200. So yeah, it's like yay, they're getting money, but also it's not a lot. Um, and I always used to think like the people here will be okay. Okay, United States of America, lagi they'll be protected. But it seems to me that the government is not prepared for this. Ang
Yeah.
governor sa New York is always saying like the state is in debt. We're in debt. We're in debt. Like, we need the federal government to help us. And obviously, lahi og different og utok ang federal government. Si
Yeah.
Mr. T. So,
Uh,
di lang kung mention
uh,
niya kaya basta i-keep out ko niya. Um,
the
Simba ko.
the yeah, that's what I'm worried about because like if you like here, if people, if they can't find a way to eat, they're going to find their own way. Like it might be kind of
Crime rate's gonna
chaotic
go
though.
up.
Yeah, I mean it's a far fetched possibility, but I feel like it's something people should be concerned about, no?
Yeah,
Because moving
definitely.
forward, peace and order, that whole thing, that's really important, no? Is there
Yeah.
anything I missed? Anything you want to talk about?
No, I'm curious about the crime in Cebu. Is it more or less the same?
Oh, wait. Well, okay. For crime in Cebu, if you ask me, I could be wrong. I don't know, but I feel like I always felt like Cebu was a safe place. So I'm the type who
Sure.
would go pretty much anywhere here in Cebu, and I don't, you know, I mean, it helps that I'm an above average height,
Right.
weight than a Filipino, and I'm a male. I know, but
Right.
and I get to speak Bisaya pa. Kaya na ba? So
Right.
like, I always felt like it was safe here. Like I don't I've never I very rarely felt like we were in trouble. No.
Right.
Uh, so now the crime rates, I don't know. I don't have statistics on that, but if you go to the streets, there's a lot less people, at least on the roads. That's for sure. No. Um,
Yeah.
I'm just worried because we're still very early on. We're still like maybe a month and a half in, but this is gonna keep going most likely unless somebody finds
Yeah.
va- yeah, unless the
Vaccine.
which is gonna take a really long time if ever. What might be more likely
Yeah.
would be people find a way to treat the virus effectively. That might come
Yeah.
sooner actually. Hopefully that does. Then if effective treatment exists, then there's a version of this where we just all get it and get treated, and then
Yeah.
and then we're done.
So I think ang
But I don't know. I know too
part
little.
of this
Go ahead.
yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
part of the strategy here aside for like the slow opening that we're gonna have is like to have more tests available but how to see if positive or negative ka, and also an antibody test to see if you have antibodies to the virus. So I think that's gonna be part of the preparation po diri for our opening. Um
Yeah. Well, they're doing
yeah,
a lot of testing. Man said here. I could be wrong. I think they're doing the antibody tests. Of course, there's some limitations to it, but if that's what we have, that's what we
yeah.
have.
And there's also the
Um,
plasma surgery. I don't know if you've heard about that. I personally know someone nga natabang gyud iyang brother sa
Sorry.
plasma
So what?
surgery.
Plasma surgery.
Plasma surgery, yeah. So I think that's what they want to see, good if you have the antibodies or not.
Yeah, daghan
Um,
kayo. You know, uh, the good thing about this whole thing right now is that all the smartest people in the world
or
are
gathered,
kind of they're kind of focused on this one thing. So
right?
hopefully this will be faster than average. No, somebody told me he
Yeah,
could be wrong, but somebody told me like usually if you take a vaccine it's like 10 years. Then but
yeah, yeah. I mean, I see
uh,
Cebu's doing great. Everyone's preparing like PPEs. Hopefully the hospitals. I'm not too familiar with what the hospitals are like in Cebu right now, but hopefully, they're making room for more beds and stuff because that was the issue in New York. Like I guess like a month ago, they had to make a makeshift hospital in the middle of Central Park. They had like this huge ship come in sa Navy to turn it into a hospital. So that was like the pangandam here.
Really? Like a ship? Like a boat?
Yeah, it was like the Navy that brought it in. It was like a huge, huge ship.
Wait a second.
And
Wait.
then
In Central Park?
no, sorry. I talk so fast. So the ship is nasa tubig. And
Okay, okay,
then
okay.
different sa ang makeshift hospital sa ground sa Central Park. Kanang,
Okay.
ah,
I was like, that is
uh,
something to see. Like, in the middle of Central Park, there's like a big ship. Okay, 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 yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, here in Cebu, they've been building kanang little quarantine areas. Like my old school
Oh,
is now a quarantine area. Uh they put up like a building and just put beds there. So people are there right now in varying degrees. So some people nga murag the interesting thing here in Cebu anyway is a lot of the people who've been tagged as positive for the virus is they've been asymptomatic, meaning
mm-hmm.
they don't show signs of the sickness. So on one hand, it's kind of scary, but on the other hand, it's like, oh, why there's all these people, nothing happened to them, no? So
Yeah.
uh, so we so one I wonder why, and then so hopefully obviously I have no idea what the answer is. No, I don't know why, but that's one of the things. Like if you look at our case count, I'm not sure what it is now. I think it's like 1,000. At least Cebu City lang, 1,000 something.
Yeah.
But we've only got like 7 or 11 deaths. Like gamayer
Okay.
kaayo ang deaths. So that's the
I guess
interesting thing with Cebu.
yeah, I guess once you have more access to I don't know what the testing situation is in Cebu right now, like the exact number, but I feel like once you have more testing kits available, like you'll start to see more people test positive good.
No,
Um
but that's what I'm saying. Like, kay, um, in a way, it's more accurate to count the deaths because that one is like
mm,
sure na gyud na. Like obviously, if they died from the virus, klaro na gyud kay
sure
na.
good.
Yeah, because
Mm,
you don't need to test them. It's like okay, they died from this virus. Like sure na na, no. So
yeah.
it's curious that our deaths are really low. Kunya, right now we have last I checked, if the numbers were correct, we have the highest number of uh, positive cases here in the Philippines, Cebu City. Um,
I wonder why no ano ang Cebu.
yeah, I don't know. That's the theme that I've realized is no one knows anything at this
Yeah,
point.
no one knows like true, no one knows anything.
Yeah, once we start talking about the specifics of the actual virus, kanang no one knows. We're just basically speculating na at this point, no?
Yeah. I mean, it got wait. There's actually something I wanted to share. It got so bad here to a point, Carlo. It came out in the news like I'd say like 2 weeks ago. There was a morgue. Yeah, is that the word? A morgue in Brooklyn. Nga gidakop sila kay kanang U-Haul bitaw nga truck, like a truck that you
Okay.
use for like moving stuff. Nag-stink ang truck. Like it wasn't refrigerated ang truck. Niya mga patay nga lawas inside. And
Yeah,
anak ka grabe ang
I
deaths
remember
dili.
I remember seeing a picture or a video. I don't know if that was true though. Like katong like people were just being buried underground. Like kanang they were burying people. It was like a mass
Yeah, so
grave.
we have it. It's what's the name of that island? It's up north pagyod. Like oh my gosh. Anyway, it's where like diha tanan ang patay nga lawas.
That's
Like
where they put
mass
them.
graveyard for New York.
I know it's so scary once you
Yeah.
start thinking about it. Ba.
Yeah. But it
Grabe.
sounds like Cebu is really taking the precautions, so that's good.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do a quick before we end. We can do like some because you have some friends who have see May Bernard said hi. I think she's my
Hi
cousin. She's my
May.
cousin. Hi May.
She's Pia's cousin also. Hi May. Balik na mo ni
Yeah,
Pia sa New York ha. Inig okay na.
yeah, and then see Kay Homicilio.
Okay, Amping.
Yeah,
She has a
I'm gonna
cute, super
miss
cute
a
baby.
few people.
Yeah, I
No,
see it on my feed. I see my old high
yeah,
school teacher.
si Pia also. So mo na siya. So Marie, where can people find you, by the way?
It's just my name on all social media, Marie Dinolan.
Yeah, where are you most active?
Pronunciation,
I'm curious.
huh?
Where are you most active on social media?
Okay, so it's so funny. So I share. I'm most active on Instagram. That's it. That's mainly because most of the casting directors here and most of my peers, my network is on Instagram. Facebook, I was super active back in Cebu. I realized I have so many friends on Facebook. When I posted the link kanina sa buntag,
Uh,
I was like, this is the first time I've posted on Facebook in like years.
really?
So I'm really glad that, I still have friends on Facebook.
Mm,
Um, yeah.
yeah, they're different. Like, I don't know. I treat them as totally different.
Yeah, no, same, same, same.
Yeah, it's like a
Facebook's
different
like business.
building.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
3 offices. I have my Twitter office, my Instagram office, and Facebook office. So it's just Marie
Mm,
Dinolan. That's it.
okay. All right, Marie. So I didn't miss anything. Are we good?
No. Yeah. Thank you, Kayo Carlo.
Thank you so much.
And thank
Also,
you
it
to
was a.
Pia.
Oh yeah, thank you, Pia, for setting this up. It was a pleasure to talk to you. I
Likewise. Be safe, guys.
yeah, hopefully we'll see you in something
Yeah.
kanang,
Hopefully, muli ko.
that comes out here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Keep in
That
touch
would
in
be cool.
social.
If if like in the future when you have like a Netflix show and then I see you on Netflix, take a picture and I'll tag you.
I will. I'll have Monica dancing in the background and doing
Kana
choreography.
perfect. All right, Marie.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Carlo.
See you.
Bye.
Bye bye.